Hello, everybody, and welcome to another podcast. For the latest content that is released first, visit everydaygaming.society.com. Like us on Facebook and YouTube at Everyday Gaming Society. Follow us on Twitter at EGS Productions 1. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the sounds of Steve and Ricky as they discuss video game news. Be sure to write us on any social media platform to have your comment read on a podcast. And while we mention the comments, here we go. We are going to go through some community feedback. First one comes up, Assassin's Creed 3 Boston Peg Leg Trinkets from Shahid. Thanks, you are the best. You are welcome. Lego Harry Potter Years 5 through 7 Tale of the Three Brothers Achievement from Debbie. The last one misses death, and Digital Silence writes, this level is bullshit. Loot Crate Gaming, July 2020, crate number 1. Amberlyn, thank you for the subscribe. She writes, I'm thinking of signing up, but can't choose between gaming or anime. Any opinions about which seems better for the value, or which subscription service would you guys recommend? There are plenty of other crates out there that will cater to your very specific needs. If you want to continue through the Loot Crate dealer, then yes, try out the anime, see how you like it, check out other reviews and other posts out there, because that's the best thing that you can do is watch someone else's review. Obviously your take is probably going to be much different from theirs, but you can gauge a little bit better on spending your own money on where you want to put it. Take into consideration both the crates are under $30 for that price point. We would have to stick with the crates for the Loot Gaming because we would have much more of a kickback from our investment being more gamers than anime watchers. Rika Do writes on in the Loot Gaming July 2020 crate number 2 video. That's not July's gaming crate, that's May's. Your second video is April's crates. Thank you for the confirmation on that. We received all the crates at a very short period of time because shipping, everything going on right now with COVID. We just got the crates all at once, opened them in the month of July, and that's why we titled it for the month of July, the month that we opened it. Also from Loot Gaming, July 2020 crate number 1 by Guild Games writes, it's speech, talking about this statue. Thank you for also that confirmation. Lego City Undercover Cheat Code video. Teddy writes in, how about the construction worker, please? Sorry, Teddy, I do not have the code for the construction worker. That is it for this time. Make sure you guys keep on commenting and keep on writing us. We will read it off here on the podcast. All right, so let's talk about some big news. Rocksteady reveals that their next game featuring the Suicide Squad, that's going to be coming out August 22nd. They're going to be talking about some more details about that. It's from the makers of Batman Arkham, so you already know that it is going to be a good, complete game. Mm-hmm. And we also have some more news that I want to also get a little bit later on in the podcast is some Halo and State of Decay news. But let's talk about Microsoft real quick. Mm-hmm. So there has been this rumor that Microsoft is going to be doing something about the Xbox Live Gold, going to discontinue it basically. Yeah. Microsoft has now said they have no plans to discontinue the Xbox Live Gold at this time. It is important part of gaming on Xbox today and will continue to be in the future. And now it's also cool with the Xbox because they have also said that they are going to try to get more cross-play promotion. They can do it on the Android, but they cannot do it on the iOS. And the reason why is because the iOS developer, Apple, they cannot review every single game that they have on the Xbox Game Pass. For people that have Apple phones like myself, I cannot enjoy the Xbox Game Pass. And it kind of sucks, but, you know, got PC, so everything all connected anyway, so that is a plus. Let's talk about games that we've been playing. I have been able to do a lot of gaming. I'm just looking at Fortnite, a little bit of Minecraft, and then World of Warcraft. But besides jumping on something like Gears or starting a new campaign or something, I have not even had a time to sit down for a new achievement guide. So I need to find out a game for that. What about you?
Nothing, man. I've been busy. Can't say what I've been busy with. It sounds secretive, but I have been busy, and there's been things that I've been having to do offset, or off podcast. Is that what?
Yeah. Well, I guess we can say offline.
Offline. And, I just can't play. I haven't been able to play. I've been so busy. I wish now that I'm not as busy right now, I should probably pick up a game and play. I was actually going to boot up the old Xbox recently and pick a game from Game Pass and play. But then my controller was dead. I was like, oh, I guess that ain't
ambition level, no.
So I gotta let it charge up. So maybe I'll do that tonight. I'll pull up the Xbox and see what's on there and play something.
It's been really nice. We are still here in summer, and we have more of the restrictions being off on COVID, so you're able to get out of the house more. Are you traveling on out to the parks more and going for those strolls, enjoying the weather, trying to get out to the movie theater more? Have you even been able to get into any kind of movie theater?
No movie theaters right now. They're done.
Still crazy,
they're still closed
isn't it?
down here, which we can talk about in the next podcast because there's been a lot of movement on that stuff going on. My gym's back open. My gym's giving the middle finger to the governor, so I'm happy about that. Been able to do that. But no, I've just been working on my project that I'm doing, and then I'm working on a actual job. No, I should be playing more games than I am and watching more movies than I actually am, but I've just been keeping so busy.
Now, when you see something like the Suicide Squad be in a game because they did have a great release of a movie, are you going to be picking up that kind of game just because the Suicide Squad is going to be in there?
It's weird. I think that the Suicide Squad movie did all right, actually. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested. That's probably now one of my number one games I want to play, because I got a feeling it's going to be out sooner rather than later, if I'm right. I have a feeling, just because this game's been rumored to be in development for how many years now? I mean, quite a few years.
But we still have games like Uncharted that has been in development for, it seems like, 2 decades, and we hope that game comes out, and that game's going to be good.
Yeah.
We're hoping for it.
Let's wait and see what the footage is. The rumored title is The Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, which actually sounds kind of awesome for a title for some reason. Really blunt and on the nose, but I kind of like it. And the poster was really cool with Superman and the crosshairs. So I'm really excited to see what they do. And it's actually kind of cool because the rumor is they're going to announce the new Batman Arkham game at the same time. So I mean, we'll be getting both those games kind of coming back. So I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for it. Now my question is it coming out this year, or is it a next year game? Or like, what is it? What do we got coming?
If we're just hearing about it, I want to say they're going to have something for the holiday season time.
I got a feeling the new Batman game is going to be this holiday, and my guess is it'll be cross-play on PS4, PS5, Xbox, the 2 Xbox systems. You buy it for one, you get it for both. That would be my guess. My guess is Suicide Squad is next year.
Really? Okay.
That would be my guess.
Well, we do have a Call of Duty release coming out, I think, just in a couple days, actually. August 10th, they're going to be releasing a bunch of information on what their next game is going to be about. And that is probably going to be the title release, maybe box art release, and something that's going to be coming out this year for Call of Duty. So, of course, they have to get their one game out every single year. It's nothing that they need to stop doing. I think their sell numbers are still doing really well. And same with Sony. Their sell numbers are up 53% higher this year than it was last year at 112 million units.
Wow.
They're also having a lot of good push going into the holiday season because obviously they're wanting to still produce that PS5 and get it out into consumers' homes. And due to the COVID, the 5 to 6 million units that they wanted to do, they have now doubled that to 10 million units that Sony is wanting to produce and sell for this holiday season. So hopefully there's not going to be a big shortage, and we're not going to see a huge spike in a lot of these consoles that people will go and buy 2 or 3, mark it up. And it's a great way of making some money, but that's nice to see that they have really good quarterly earnings and they're able to make a lot more units and care more about the customers, it seems like. Yeah,
I mean, PlayStation 5 is going to sell through the roof when it comes out. I'm wondering, though, what the price is. What are we looking at price-wise? I'm getting kind of nervous on what they're saying, with how they're kind of...
It looks nice.
I mean, they're holding that price close to the chest, aren't they? I mean,
I want to say $499 base model.
I don't like that price, man. I know it sounds weird. I think $499 is too expensive.
$299 would be ideal. Great.
$299 would be ideal for anything.
Right, it would be, but I don't think we're going to get that kind of introductory price. We're going to get that price 2 to 3 years from now.
I mean, I would like to see it at $400 to start at.
$399 for a bundle. Now, is that going to have a controller and a wireless headset and possibly a game?
Well, no. I mean, if you're going to do a bundle where it's like, hey, you get a wireless headset, you get a game. Okay, $500. Whatever, it's fine. But if you're looking at just a base model, you know, the model that's the disc version with just a controller, you know, I would say $400. That would be where I think the sweet spot is. It worked. I feel like this would be a PlayStation 3 moment all over for them because that launched at $500 and $600, right? Wasn't it? It was pretty expensive.
Yes, it was.
And that bit them in the ass. PlayStation 4 came out at $400. That was a really solid price point for them. By the time in 2 years, like you said, you can drop it down to $299, and you would have then you can release the PS5 Pro or whatever because there's going to be a mid-generation upgrade. So I think that to me is a solid price. I feel like $500 is pushing it. Maybe I'm wrong. Not only that, I'm not really too impressed by the lineup so far for the launch. I mean, I would probably still get it because I plan to swap out my PS4 Pro and upgrade.
Sure.
And get the maximum amount that I can now versus a year from now. So I would like it to be at $400. That's where I think the sweet spot is. I'm getting nervous.
It's weird to see these bundled and packaged deals because a lot of the games now obviously are not even physical games. Mm-hmm. They are all on a disc or a card. So if you were to get a bundle pack, let's say you get 2 games with it, and they're going to jack up the price another $50, $60. Mm-hmm. I don't think that is fair. And I also don't think it's fair for a consumer just to buy the product, just the base model and the controller, and not have a game with it. So if you're going to offer, let's say, 3 months of their online service, and that's going to allow you, for those 3 months, download games. And it's kind of like the Game Pass, exactly. It's on their network there. And if they allow consumers to download the games to try it, even right there, mm-hmm. they can hook them on a 1-year subscription. They don't have to buy any games, but they have them now at a 1-year subscription.
Right now, with I know we haven't seen everything that they have unveiled yet, but I'm not seeing any killer app for the launch of the PS5. I'm not saying that the games look bad, but there's not really anything there that makes me say, man, I gotta play that game. I'm guessing it's still gonna have full PS4 backwards compatibility.
It better have every single PlayStation available to play on it. So
that would be great.
PS1 to PS4, you should be able to play on the PS5.
That would be ideal right there.
Yes.
That would really be ideal. But again, I feel like they're playing it a little too close on the price. I think I'm worried.
Well, yeah, we don't know the price.
And they're hyping people up on it. Like they're saying, we promise it's going to be worth the value. You know, we're trying to show you the value before we show you the price. So that's kind of got me worried. And I know Microsoft wants to react to the price. That's how they're going to price the Xbox One X. Or not One X, but the Series.
Series, yeah.
So I feel like it's Sony's move to make, unless maybe they're waiting for Microsoft so that they could react to them. But I would say $400 is the right price point. I expect the Xbox Series X to be $400 as well, especially now that they canceled the Xbox One X production line. So I would expect Series X to be $400 too, which I will probably be upgrading. I'm hoping to upgrade day of for it.
Okay, and that was my next question. Let's talk about the Xbox now. So we have, obviously, Halo Infinite that is going to be coming out at some point this year for the new Xbox. Now, is that a game that is going to make you want to go out and upgrade your console?
I'm not a Halo guy. I'm more interested in playing the upgraded version of Ori and the Will-o'-the-Wisp than I am Halo. I've never been a Halo guy. I might go onto the new Halo and dick around on it with friends if someone finally jumps on and plays with me. Now, I'm not necessarily you specifically, but just double.
Right.
I'm only, like I said, I'm going to upgrade early, or I'm hoping to, because I want to get the maximum amount out of the systems I have, like the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro. I'd like to be able to at least put that towards the next system. So I plan to do an upgrade for that reason, but no, Halo wouldn't do it because they had their show recently. Or they had a show recently, didn't they?
And they were saying that it is going to be a 2-player local split screen, up to 4 people online. When you're talking about the campaign or doing stuff on the game itself, have not released a lot about the multiplayer specs and the details of if it's going to be like an arena style. I don't know if they are going to do one. I'm sure they're going to have some kind of a Fortnite tier system. The more you play, the more rewards and bullshit you get. When it comes to the frames per second, it's still over 120, which is nice, but that's also playing on the Xbox One. Series X.
Yeah, Series X, yeah.
So you need to be able to hook it up with your PC as well, because the Master Chief Collection is going to be cross-platform, cross-play. I'm sure with the new Halo coming out, that is going to be hopefully something you can get right at day one. And they were also saying that they want to make Halo Infinite free to play.
Yeah, and they're saying that the thing is going to be, what, a 10-year live service game or whatever?
That's cool, fine, and dandy, but at some point, we're not even going to have a console last 10 years.
Well,
I don't think this new console that we're going to be getting later on this year to put in our living room as a new paperweight is going to last 10 years.
No, probably not. But, I mean, there's something to be said about this idea where they keep releasing new game, like a new game in a series, and like in Halo, you get Halo Infinite, you're going to get multiplayer in a single-player game. So, like, I can see, like, one, what do they mean by, like, it's going to be a service game? Are they going to, like, instead of doing, like, is this Halo 5 or 6?
This will be now Halo 6.
Okay, so are they just going to keep adding to Halo Infinite story, or, like, what is that? You know what I mean? Like,
it's also a very good question, because have you seen the box cover art that they released for it?
I think I have, yeah.
There was a comparison that somebody did, and it's a great picture of the Halo box art of the Halo Infinite and the original Xbox.
Okay, I did see that.
And it was basically mirrored. Obviously, the graphics and everything were looking much more polished on the Halo Infinite, but then you also had the big Halo ring in the back. You had the same structures.
Well, I guess what I'm getting at is, if you keep building the multiplayer mode up for the next decade, you could just keep building, you know what I mean, and just adding to it in the same way Fortnite, they do with Fortnite, and then you can just keep making new, like, Halo story campaign games, and you don't need to focus on the multiplayer for it, you know what I mean, because you're already building on a multiplayer. You just include it in the package.
I think Halo
Does that make sense to you?
It does, and I think Halo needs to be a game that the story and campaign, it needs to be there for the consumer.
Yeah, no, I think so,
I don't
too.
think they can be like Call of Duty, where they can get away with not having a campaign, releasing a Call of Duty title with just strictly multiplayer and still have positive numbers.
Yeah,
so
I
think that's the thing that's really shitty right now for 343. They're getting a lot of heat, and they have a lot on their plate right now, and they have to really produce it and really kick ass this year.
Well, I think that, if you use the multiplayer that's going to be the Halo Infinite, or the Halo Infinite multiplayer, if you're going to use that as the basis for the multiplayer going forward for the next decade, then you don't have to spend time redoing a new multiplayer. You can just include that in, because it's just the multiplayer is a service. In the same way Grand Theft Auto 5 is different from the Grand Theft Auto game, you know what I mean, the online version.
Sure.
So you can just continue making it a live service and then package it in with Halo 6. Is that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they could just focus on doing single-player games, and then they'll have a team separately there to rebuild or to continue expanding upon the multiplayer. That's kind of what I was thinking they're doing. I don't know if that's right or not. I don't know what they're doing. I read that they expect it to be a 10-year live service game. So whatever it is,
I'm sure they're going to keep the servers on for 10 years. That's probably going to be a guarantee. They're probably going to make money up until the very end.
Well, some 360 game servers are still on, aren't they?
Yes, yeah, they are, and it's nice, but they also don't have microtransactions.
Okay.
Like the games now, I think it's going to be easy for them to keep that switch on maybe even 15 to 20 years. If they're still banking a lot of money, look at World of Warcraft.
Oh, I'm sure they would like to.
Shit, man.
I'm sure they would much rather have a game that they can kind of keep expanding upon for the next 10 years versus rebuilding or building a brand new one in another 3 to 4 years. So
just like Fortnite.
Although, it's kind of funny. There was only one Halo game on the Xbox One.
Depending on how you look at it, because you also had Halo Wars 2.
Oh, I guess you have... Oh, I'm saying, like, mainline. I know they did, like, the Master Chief collection, but, like...
But they also had that weird Bungie 343 battle to where it was the cross between Halo 3 jumping into Halo 4, a new company taking it, trying to make something with it.
Well, that's kind of weird. But that company was put together only to make Halo games, wasn't it? Did they do anything else?
When they released the Master Chief collection and they had so many online issues with that, I think that really hurt their production on the Halo team, because they now had to fix this game that was already out, already having problems. Nobody's wanting to play it. There's other consumers going somewhere else just because your game is fucking broken. So obviously that hurt them.
Did you watch that Microsoft showcase a couple weeks ago?
I did not, but I did see the highlights.
I watched some of it. Didn't have any killer titles again. I'm not a Halo guy. I understand that that's the centerpiece for them. A lot of the game trailers I noticed were CGI trailers. Not a whole lot of gameplay footage. But again, I'm not seeing anything where it's like, man, I got to play this game. Like when Sony showed off Horizon Zero Dawn for the first time, it didn't click with me. But then they showed it off for a second time, and I was like, holy shit, that game looks amazing. I didn't have like a holy shit moment watching the Microsoft. None of the games look bad. They all look like they're solid games. I noticed that what I liked about them was, one, they're all Game Pass games, and that's a big deal. And two, a lot of them, they focused on having like an upgraded Series X version. So I really like that as well. So, but other than that, I think it looks solid. I like that the Game Pass is getting heavy support. I'd like to see more. I want to see like a game that really captures me, that I feel like I have to play.
They're going to have to really start pushing themselves because obviously it was a press release. It was something that they want the crowd to get hyped. They want the crowd to know what games are going to be coming up because they're going to want that consumer base to have their pockets lined up with money. As soon as that game releases, as soon as that system releases, they want them to be in line waiting wherever they release.
I mean, we're finally seeing the payoff, though, for them purchasing all those studios.
I don't know. It's very interesting to see how all these game companies were bought by Microsoft 343. Just basically everybody trying to get into the Microsoft pool because, yes, this is a battle between Microsoft, between Sony, and between Nintendo. The big three. And really, Nintendo, they don't have to buy out those companies. Nintendo has some good quality products and good titles and good characters that they can still go on for another couple decades.
I don't know. I feel like they should start making a couple big purchases. I really think they would benefit from making a at least one big purchase if I were Nintendo to kind of pad out some of their support.
And what direction would you go with, though?
Honestly, Capcom.
Now that makes sense. A lot of cartoons. Well, I shouldn't say cartoons, but a lot of animated stuff comes from Capcom. I think for Nintendo, Resident Evil alone would be worth the purchase. That would be and it's weird that game series really started its life on a Sony system. Yes, it did.
But for some reason, it still does have really strong ties to Nintendo. Obviously, because there was a time when the Nintendo GameCube became kind of the primary focus for the Resident Evil series. So to me, if I were them, I'd go for Capcom. You'd get Resident Evil, you get Devil May Cry, Street Fighter, Jesus, how much? They have so many other Monster Hunter. I mean, they have dozens of games. Mega Man. I mean, you can go through them and just list them all off, and you'd have tons of them. And I'm kind of surprised they haven't made a purchase for Platinum yet either. That one's a smaller studio, but I feel like they could have definitely scooped them up.
Are they wanting to associate and promote themselves with that kind of blood, guts, and gore? Because I think they have a really good image that is going towards the younger, softer
Yeah, I think
generation.
they do because they've always promoted Resident Evil. Like anytime they they put Resident Evil stuff in the recent Smash Brothers. So I mean, they've never shied from it. I just don't think they want to make it themselves. Getting a company like Capcom on board, let them make it. Because they're going to make Resident Evil. You can let them make it. You can have Retro make a Resident Evil game too. That would be pretty sweet. I think there's a lot that they could do with a company like Capcom, and then I would also say maybe throw down for Sega as well.
I was going to say Sega.
Sega would
with
be a
Sonic
good one,
and all that, especially with the push of the movie most recently.
Yeah, Sega has a lot of really old franchises that they could pull from and do a lot of cool things with, whether it be Golden Axe or.
Everybody loves the retro stuff right now too.
There's just a lot that they could do, and where else does Sonic really? It wouldn't just make sense for Nintendo to buy out Sega due to their old rivalry. But yeah, I would say Capcom. If someone was to ask me like, who would you want to see Nintendo buy first? I'd say Capcom, just because I feel like Capcom could always be on the bubble of being purchased. And if they don't buy them, Microsoft would make a purchase for them if they could.
If they were up for sale, somebody would buy them.
Someone's going to buy them, and for some reason, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really trust. I feel like if Microsoft bought Capcom, they'd go the way of Rare, and you'd start having their Resident Evil be floating around with some shitty developer that making shoddy westernized versions of it that just doesn't quite hit, and they'll never know what to do with them. Whereas I think with Nintendo, they would put the care into the games. In fact, I would argue that you might even get better quality Resident Evil, even though I think Resident Evil, they've been pumping out some really quality games. But I think you might get less of them, but the ones that do come out would be really good. And so I would prefer to see them with Nintendo.
Let's talk about game exclusives that would go to a side company that not a lot of people play on. Let's say Capcom was for sale. Mm-hmm. First buyers that bought them, Apple Arcade. Mm-hmm. How many people do you think would actually go and purchase an Apple Arcade product, have some kind of Apple product if they're, let's say, using a Galaxy their entire life or something that they have no Apple products, and now this is something that they love because they're a huge Resident Evil fan?
They might. I mean, they totally might. I don't know if necessarily Apple would see the value in Capcom because...
No, I'm just saying. I mean, would that be a big thing for a random company to think
it would be huge.
Money?
I think it would be huge if Apple made a purchase of Capcom for gaming. It'd be
you're
huge.
Goddamn right.
Well, I mean, what
would they do with it?
Because it would come out of the blue, and it would really... I mean, again, you just don't know how Apple would handle it because it's obvious that they view their games as more just kind of calming experiences where you just kind of sit down and you play around on them. Not really heavy competition or anything, so it would be huge. But does that mean, what is it? Does it mean we just get a bunch of Mega Man games? Do we get a bunch of Ghosts and Goblins games? Do they really do anything with Resident Evil? Do they do anything with Street Fighter? Do they do anything with Devil May Cry? Probably Monster Hunter. You could totally see them doing something with that on mobile. But what do they do? So, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be huge, but I think there'd be a lot of worry about what an Apple does with them. I think we're past that point because I remember in the mid 2000s when all these companies were being bought up by mobile developers, there was a lot of worry that Capcom might, and they were willing to. There was talks they were thinking about it to put themselves up for sale with some of these companies that wanted to have companies to make mobile games with.
That's got to be hundreds of millions of dollars if Capcom, that kind of company, were to go up for sale.
Well, no. Capcom would go up to sale with one of them.
Right, but I'm saying, like, if they were to talk any kind of money, $500 million at least.
You got to remember, though, this was before Capcom's seen quite the revival the past decade. This was mid-2000s. They were kind of at their worst. They didn't have Street Fighter. Resident Evil 4 was probably their biggest hit. This is before 5 came out. This is before Street Fighter came back around. Devil May Cry, I think, was kind of there.
We had a boost from the movies, too, because that's about the time that the Milla Jovovich Resident Evil movies started to hit.
They were towards the end of those, actually. So probably, 4 at that point. So, yeah, I mean, Sony would have retained the IP rights to the movie, I'm sure, if they wanted them. But I don't know. There was talks that a mobile company was interested in purchasing them because then they would have had all those IPs to turn into mobile games. So, it never happened. But I just feel like Capcom's always ripe to be picked up, and if I'm going to see one company pick them up, I think Nintendo would do the best to work with them.
What would be fantastic? Let's say Apple, their gaming department gets to be a point where our phone is our controller. Gameplay and everything's up on the TV, and this is just your controller. You have your arrow keys, you got whatever you need to do. I think that would be pretty awesome. And then if you can have a game that you can have 80 hours of gameplay that can be on your TV or even on your phone as well, holy shit.
I think Apple's doing exactly what Microsoft wants to do with the Apple Arcade. Microsoft wants to do it with the Game Pass. Apple's doing it with the Apple Arcade, where you subscribe and download the games. It just comes down to Apple's never going to be a major player because they'll never make the kind of games that pulls in a big audience. I don't know. They might. You could even say they might somehow have 100 million subscribers. But, again, it's someone that was subscribed to it for a month or two. You literally just pick up and play games. Like, they're not really deep or anything. They're just, you kind of dick around in them. There's barely any kind of concept of competition or conflict. You're just playing around. That's all you're doing. I mean, it's a really cool concept that they're doing. It's cool that you could play on your phone, and then when I was home, I could boot it up on my Apple TV if I really wanted to. But I don't. These are not those kind of games. I just don't think Apple has that kind of interest in the gaming world.
No, because if I'm going to play on my TV, I'm going to play through a console. I'm going to get the full-on experience. I'm not going to play a little mobile game like Snake or or whatever the hell I think it would be a very big boulder thrown into the video game water if a big company were to be bought out, like Apple or Amazon or even Netflix, if they were to really get down and dirty with their...
Amazon could do it because there's been talks of them doing their own streaming service for gaming. So,
but we're looking at, let's say, Google Stadia. We're not even hearing much on that, and that might be a good thing. We're not hearing a lot of it, so there might be just a few minor kinks that they're working out, but there's not a lot of talk on it. There's not a lot of these games and these companies wanting to go over and work with the Stadia.
Yeah, Stadia's it's too soon.
You think it's already dead?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any more room for another system. Not like Stadia was trying to be. Maybe, I mean, I could see there being more room for like more subscriber, like more streaming services, but I think Stadia was dead on arrival.
They had a really good thing happen for them for the I don't want to say it's a good thing in general, but the COVID, when most of the people were all at home not working.
Did they see a huge uptick in...
Not as big as what they were hoping for, from what I was reading, and that's quite the bummer, because that's when the streaming services and that's when all this digital kind of content is going to really hit high, when people cannot go out and travel and do stuff. Two more things. Doom Eternal campaign expansion has been announced. The single-player campaign expansion is going to have an opening night live on August 27th. For the trailer reveal, you can follow it at Gamescom. Check out their website. And also, State of 3 Decay is in early development to the Xbox Series X. Thank you to Undead Labs. I cannot wait to play that game. Love the first one, love the second one. Hopefully the third one will just be as good. Hello Neighbor 2, kind of a creepy game for the Xbox. This has now come to the Series X by popular demand, I guess. So the Xbox Series X and PC will be getting that next year, 2021, and Warhammer 40,000 Darktide is going to be coming out next year. Some kind of 4-player co-op shooter. All right, for video games, that is going to be it. Make sure you guys hang around for the next podcast when we talk about TV, movies, wrestling, Netflix, Hulu, and whatever else we want to probably throw in there for Disney. So thank you for listening, you guys. Visit the website. Take care.